team is at entering the opener, or do you like where you guys are this year?
Well, I'm glad you asked me today as opposed to Tuesday. Tuesday was a different answer, but we bounced back and had a decent practice yesterday. We've had pretty good practices. Tuesday we laid a rotten egg for sure, and but yesterday was much better, more attentive, more focused, more effort, everything you want to say about it. And really, Monday, I think I may have said Tuesday. Monday's practice was the one that was bad. But that was the only one time this year that I've really gone wacko at all. You know, I might have yelled at somebody for doing one thing or something, but Monday was not good. I didn't think we made ourselves any better whatsoever. But as I said, yesterday was much better in every phase. Is any coach ever satisfied where they are? No, at this time what you're doing is you're afraid. You're afraid you've missed something, afraid you've left out something, asking everybody, is there anything you can think of that we haven't covered, and going through all those bases now. But today is practice 27 or 28, so we've had enough time to get it done.
I was going to ask, are you about at the point when you need to start playing some games?
Yeah.
For the progression?
Yeah. It helped us, the exhibition game, get to play against somebody else. It helped us scrimmage in Memphis, you know, because human nature is if you're playing against your teammates, they're going to play the play a little bit and know what's coming, and so that helps. You defend it, and somebody can scout you and get as much information as they can, but their players can't react that quickly as the guys that you play against every day. And then just the tedious nature of coming to practice every day. And it was fun for our guys to get in front of a crowd Friday night in the exhibition.
Roy, do you think the exhibition rules maybe need to be changed to allow, like, you wouldn't have to have a secret scrimmage, you could go play somebody, not necessarily have the crowd in if you don't want them in, but just...
You know, I have mixed emotions, Al. I think that one thing is I like the close scrimmage because I can have much more control, and you can stop things in the middle and say, let's try this, let's try that, and you know, so I like that part of it. The competition is really good. What we try to do in the exhibition game is to schedule some team from the state of North Carolina that we can help with their budget a little bit by giving them some extra money. So it does get them out in front of a crowd. I think that you need both. I don't know how they would tweak it to make it really much better than it is right now, to be honest with you. You know, I even suggested one time, when we go to Fort Bragg, let's play pickup against those guys, and we couldn't do that because that would have been counted as the scrimmage. So there's some things I'm thinking, you know, you could probably change a little bit. It might be helpful, but other than that, I sort of like what I don't think we've ever had two private scrimmages, but we've had two exhibition games. You know, I stopped doing the blue-white game because I didn't think it had quite the purpose that it had in the old days either. So,
Coach, the practice you didn't like on Monday or whatever, last year with Marcus or Bryce have shook a nod in the guys, or would you have something like that would turn that thing around?
Marcus would have been much more helpful. There's no question. Last year, sometimes I was getting mad. It was at Bryce, so it wouldn't have done much of a difference, but he had been there. But Marcus would have helped to turn it around. But it was just an ugly day. It really was.
Have you seen that guy start to emerge, maybe among Joel or even Justin?
To be the leader?
Just sort of step up and be more of a voice, a louder voice.
You know, they're trying, but I think it takes time. Very seldom do you have one guy that can step out and bam, he's the leader. But I think it takes time, and really your leadership doesn't show up till you have some adversity. And we had some adversity on Monday, but it was just adversity to me. It wasn't adversity out in the open to everybody else. But I think Joel and Justin are doing a nice job. But again, we got to see how they handle it when there's some adverse conditions and how they respond.
Do you have as natural of a leader as Marcus?
No, because you know Joel's a fighter. He's a competitive rascal, and sometimes he has that tunnel vision about how I'm doing, and sometimes that's great, and sometimes it's not quite as good. But he's a competitive rascal, and sometimes it's not his nature to say, "Come on, please, would you do this?" He barks at them, and you know over time that works with a lot of kids. Some kids it doesn't, though.
You like opening up elsewhere, not here, either neutral site or true road games?
Never even thought about which one I opened up on. I like to play some road games. I like to play some true road games in other people's buildings. But which one was first? I've never thought about that.
Would you like to see something done in college basketball to kind of highlight the start of the year more? You heard some people talk about that, some coaches have floated the idea of some sort of big marquee season opening event type thing, like they have these big marquee events in college football, for instance.
Well, you're answering your own question, because we have some really good marquee events that people just don't notice as much because it's early. I mean, the thing that's going on in Hawaii, are they calling that the Veterans Classic? Armed Forces Classic. I mean, we have some fantastic events. We played Michigan State on an aircraft carrier in the middle of San Diego Harbor, and we had President Obama there. So we already have some of those things. But at this point in the season, college football they're talking about which 4 teams are going to make it. The NFL's about to the halfway point, and there's just so many different things going on. And it's just like, I don't have any idea how the Yankees are doing in preseason spring training when we're playing, and I think I would say that if we weren't going to Houston, I'm still excited about college basketball at that time. But I think we already have. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, we played a daggum game in the middle of a harbor on an aircraft carrier. The President of the United States came there. I mean, hell, you can't do any more than that.
But do you feel like the sport has like an interest problem this time of year, November, December, until conference play starts?
No. I mean, in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, their highest rated thing, they play the entire season, so that's the first week in December. I think our game against Michigan State was the highest rated thing that they've ever had in the opening season. It's just so many things going on. I think there's a little bit of problem interest and attention because there's so many things going on. And, I mean, you can watch next Friday's game on Oceanic.
Well, there used to be
Oceanic something.
Like a game, the tip-off,
Yeah.
right? The tip-off was one big opening game. Now there's a lot of special events.
First weekend in December, it used to be North Carolina and Kentucky, but nobody realized that was happening. You had to tell people, we do this every year the first week. But the interest question is always going to be, what's easier to do? Is it get in a car and drive from Lenore to Chapel Hill, or is it go stay in your recliner and walk 17 steps to your bedroom? That kind of thing. I think TV's just got so many games. I think it's hard to choose that one is the opener of the season. That's my opinion.
Do you think college basketball could benefit from moving the start to like January when the college football's over, where there's just more eyes available, or is that not?
I think you'd have to convince me that college basketball is in bad shape, and I don't really think we're in bad shape. I think the season definitely could be shorter myself, because the season's so long. But I don't really think that if you're a college basketball fan, you're going to have some exciting games that you're going to watch. If you're not a college basketball fan, you're not going to watch Slippery Rock. And the reason I always use them because I used to know the coach there, playing somebody and think this is the greatest thing. You sort of buffered on the end because you got the Masters. Masters on CBS, or the last game of the regular season in college basketball, Masters on CBS is going to beat that. Even if you move the start of the season back 2 weeks or whatever, you're going to lose that battle against CBS on Masters Sunday. I know if it had games in, I would never play a game on Masters Sunday because I want to watch the daggum golf tournament. So I think it's a long season and the whole bit, but I think we're fine.
When things go as well as they did last year, do you find yourself doing some of the same things with your team, even though you did come off like you did?
Mm-hmm. I think you take those results of being really successful, and if you look, the last 3 or 4 years we've had pretty good runs down the end of the season. A couple of years ago we won 12 straight conference games, I think it was, down the stretch. Am I close? Was it 12? So we've what we're doing now, we do basically all the time now. The kids have something to latch on to because some of them were involved in it. But I haven't changed things because of the success we had last year, because I didn't change things last year. What we did last year is basically what we'd always done. What we want to do is just be corny as all get out, bust our tail every day and try to get better today and better tomorrow. And if you are doing that, then you got a better chance of playing your best basketball at the end of the year.
Have you decided if Nate is going to start that?
Haven't decided. In the exhibition game, we started Nate in the first half and Kenny in the second half. Didn't we do that in the exhibition game?
Kenny and
Yeah, and changed the big guys at that time too, yeah.
These first few weeks, how much, especially with guys like Kenny and Luke and some of the freshmen, how much of the playing time do you have sort of predetermined, you want to get them an X number of minutes? How much of it is by feel and situational?
It's almost all by feel. I know who's going to substitute for whom. I know who they're going in for, but I don't really make a decision at the 8-minute mark, I need to do this, or the 12-minute mark, I need to do this. Because one thing I think sometimes I've had at least 2 or 3 situations where you put a player in and he's so nervous the first of the year that he loses his confidence, and then it takes forever to get him back. Maybe if I hadn't played him quite as much in that first game, it wouldn't have shaken him so much. But we're going to play 9 or 10 guys in the first half tomorrow night, and we'll probably do that again on Sunday, and we'll probably do that again on Tuesday.
How ready do you think a guy like Tony Bradley, especially he's received a lot of attention, probably among those 3 freshmen, is most expected to contribute early? How ready do you think he is for that?
As ready as he can be. He'll be nervous, but so will Nate and Kennedy and Isaiah, because it's first game. But how they handle that nervousness is the question you have to answer. And we've gone a little slower with Tony, trying to throw things at him, but not as many things as we can, the sophomore, junior, senior. And then there comes a point where they realize, hey, this is not as complicated as I thought it was. It does fit in pretty well, and so then you can give them a lot more. But there's no question he'll be nervous, but I think he's good enough that he'll use his confidence to know that he can get past that kind of stuff too.
Roy, you've expressed frustration about the kind of NCAA cloud affecting recruiting. I guess back in the spring when they issued their notice, or amended notice, they removed all mention of men's basketball. Has that helped the recruiting process at all?
It's helped a little. The fact that we have the light at the end of the tunnel's probably helped more. But we still, with all the seniors, we had to spend time going over it again and again and again. We'll sign 4 kids this week and hopefully get another one at some point. But the last 3 years or 4 years has been it's been really a huge negative for us. But I think that it's starting to be over with, and things about not having men's basketball mentioned or my name mentioned is something I've been saying forever. So it's sort of just confirms what I've been saying, and then they still got to be able to get past it, and it's different on an individual basis. The one thing we have noticed is that the underclassmen, the juniors, we already have a couple of commitments in the junior class, and nobody's ever mentioned it to them because everybody else realizes it'll be over with soon too.
And we'll release our signees next week. Got various guys signing at various different times, so.
Yeah, we've two of them in now, and we'll get 2 in right before the end of the week.
Is there a timetable for when you expect to know more definitive what Theo's situation is going to be at the season?
Not that I know of. I think that, what's it been, 2 weeks today?
It was October 26th was the day of the surgery, and it was 8 to 12 weeks.
Okay, so that'd be 2 weeks today, or 2 weeks yesterday, I guess was Wednesday, yeah. So since the surgery, I would imagine or guess that they would look at it after 4 weeks and see where it stands, and again, it's 6 weeks, but other than that, I'm just guessing. As a matter of fact, I'm just guessing with that, not other than that, I'm guessing with that.
When you mentioned, earlier in the season before Pinson got hurt, of the possibility of playing smaller more, What will have a bigger impact on that now, Benson's injury or potential rebounding problem?
Well, we still have Justin, who we were rotating Theo and Justin at the 4 spot. So both of them can do it if one was in the game and one was not. So now we've only got one guy who can cross that line from 3 down to the 4 spot. But I think what we would do would be a failure to rebound it enough may make us stay away from it. You know, if you're rebounding okay and feel comfortable about it, you can stay with what you have when you do go small. But we could go big, you know, and play Luke. Luke played about half the year last year at the 3 spot, so we could do that. But I'm probably more comfortable with the smaller lineup than I am the bigger lineup.
Roy, we've talked a lot about the small lineup this year, last year. Has that started to factor into recruiting? I mean, are you starting to look for a little bit different option maybe to have that ability?
I've always done that. Every year, 29 years as a head coach, I've always been able to play small. We had Steve Woodbury at Kansas early. He played the 1, 2, 3, and the 4. We had Nick Bradford, who played the 1, 2, 3, and the 4. We had Danny Green, who played the 3 and the 4. Marvin Williams, who played the 3 and the 4. So we've had different guys. There's one line, you're either the point guard, you're the 2 or 3, or you're the 4 or 5. So there's 3 different positions. So I keep saying crossing the line, you got to know 2 positions if you're going to play the 1 and the 2 spot. If you're going to play the 2 and 3, it's no different. If you're going to play the 4 or 5, it's no different. So crossing somebody over from 3 down to the 4, I would bet I've done that every year I've ever coached, so it hadn't been that big a deal.
Is there one player that surprised you over the last 28 practices that you just think has really developed since the first day of practice?
I don't think surprised would be in Kenny's name, because I've just been so encouraged, but I thought Kenny was going to be a really effective basketball player even for us last year. But he's done some good things, made some shots, and last year I think his shot not going in affected him much more than it would this year. I think he's just more mature. Joel Berry, it's not a surprise because, again, we thought he was very good, but he's at times played even better, shot the ball even better. I guess that would be the only ones that I would say is a surprise. And, you know, I sort of qualified them a little bit in answering it like that.
Getting back to Theo, it seemed like he was one of those guys who could emerge possibly into a leader. You guys this year, has he been active still, even though he can't really participate on the court? Has he been
very active, very active, talks more than ever, you know, that kind of thing. So he's been involved in practice. He doesn't just sit over there. I mean, he's yelling to guys, talking to me, talking to the other assistants. But I do think that some of the worst leaders are guys that talk all the time. And so I think he has to understand that part and choose his moments, particularly when you're injured and not playing. But no, Theo is one of the leaders, and just the fact that he talks more or it's easier for him to talk is it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Is it bad because it can lose its effectiveness?
Well, so it's bad if you talk and don't back it up. You know, I've had a lot of guys that thought they were going to be leaders, but they didn't back it up with how they played, and that they kept on talking, and so finally you have to tell them, shut up, because it's not doing any good. And I've done that a few times, you know, because they got to have the respect of the guys, and you do that, you earn the respect. That what's that? The old commercial, the old-fashioned way they earn it.
Anybody else?
Do you want to say
that?
that?
Justin Jackson.
Do you want to say that about Rob?
Sure.
Coach Steve Robinson will not be going with us to Tulane. Will not be going with us to Hawaii. He's got a blood clot in his leg. He did come out at the end of practice yesterday and stood on the side, and he'll still be involved in practices, but they don't want him flying, and that's all it is. Don't want him flying, and it's harmful to me. It's harmful to him. I mean, you know, this is what you work all the time for, is to go play in somebody else's house and try to whip them. And so it's sad for us, sad for him, but we also want to make sure we keep his best interest at heart. And so he will not be going with us tonight, and will not be leaving to go with us next week. He'll be on the bench Sunday, and Tuesday, and everything will be just like it's been in the past, but got to make sure we take care of it.
When did you learn of this?
Yesterday. He's had a little pain and got some swelling, but yesterday's when they told him what it was. And he missed the first part of practice, came back at the end of practice, and as I say, was involved in. But I think it's something that he will get over, and they feel very good about their plan to help him, but he won't be making those 2 trips with us.